So this is the book that we are going to start today. Himalayan Lust by Sadhguru, Yogi, Mystic and Visionary. Namaskaram everyone. So we'll go through the first chapter. Part 1. The Domain of Shiva, Kedarnath. There are only 2 or 3 things in the world which actually overwhelm me. Kedar is one of them. For the pilgrim, this remote Himalayan town, flanked by breathtaking snow-capped mountains, located in the Indian state of Uttarakhand, is a site of immeasurable sacredness and antiquity. For the mystic, it is the craziest cocktail of spirituality. In this spellbinding chapter, rich in metaphor and fable, Sadhguru speaks of the Himalayas as he sees them. He speaks of the variety of yogis who have bequeathed their energies to this distant mountain and left behind the essence of their spirituality, discovery for the future generations of seekers. It is this bequest, invisible but still vibrantly alive, that makes Kedarnath a living benediction to anyone on the path of self-realization. It is impossible to speak of Kedar without speaking of Shiva. The town is the locus of one of the most revered Shiva temples in the country, making it one of the 4 major sites in India's centuries-old Char Dham pilgrimage. Sadhguru deepens our understanding of this mysterious protagonist who looms large in the spiritual heritage of this land. Invoking him with a strange mix of intimacy and impersonality, he brings Shiva alive in the tantalizing variety of ways, as emptiness, as that which is not, as the freedom of uncreated, as the first yogi and the first guru, and as fellow-conspirator, as an enigmatic 50% partner. Sadhguru also speaks of that esoteric dimension of mantras and yantras, the deep connection between sound and form. In the process, he throws lights on questions shared by pilgrims and seekers since time immemorial. Questions about gods and ideals, yogis and adepts, saints and gurus. Subtle and intriguing, this chapter does not promise to solve any riddles, it only deepens the mystery. This is the craziest cocktail of spirituality anywhere in the world. The reason we make this trip to Kedar is that this is a place which has witnessed thousands and thousands of yogis, mystics, every kind that you can ever think of, for thousands of years. These are people who made no attempt to teach anything to anybody. So their way of making an offering to the world was by leaving their energies, their path, their work, everything in a certain way in these spaces. This is the craziest cocktail of spirituality anywhere in the world. No single place has seen this many varieties of people, people of every kind. When I say every kind, you cannot imagine those kinds. This activity have been going on in this valley for approximately anywhere between 25 and 50,000 years. The legend goes that this is the place where all the sages and saints lived. That's not just a legend, it's a historical fact. Beyond this, mountain is a place called Kanti Sarovar. The legend says that Shiva and Parvati lived there and they visited Kedar once in a while. It's on the banks of this lake that Ganapati or Ganesha was created. It's on the banks of this lake about 10 years ago in 1994 in the month of April when I came here that the whole experience of Nada Brahma happened. Today, after 10 years, we have had the opportunity to go there. It is very difficult to describe the place and what it is. In ancient times, India did not exist as one country, but still it was considered as one entity, which was called Bharat Varsha. Its people were not the same religion, race, or language. They did not worship the same gods, nor were they politically one. But still, the land south of Himalayas was referred to as Bharat Varsha. So, somewhere there was some sense of unity because of the common spiritual ethos they carried in them. Spiritual ethos means no matter what you're doing, whether you are a king or a peasant, whatever is the nature of your activity, there is only one ultimate goal for everybody: liberation. Even today, even today, even the simplest farmer in this country will talk about mukti. This is a result of the phenomenal amount of spiritual work done in this country. One person who is largely responsible for this, who is of paramount significance in shaping the human consciousness, is Shiva. In yogic culture, Shiva is not known as a god, but as the first guru or the Adi Guru. He is Adi Yogi or the first yogi. Out of his realization, he became ascetic and danced all over the mountains or sat absolutely still. He was constantly into the bounds of stillness and bounds of mad dancing. All the gods who saw him saw something was happening to him that they themselves did not know. Suddenly, heaven felt like a bad place because this guy is having such a good time. They felt we are missing out on something. When they finally got him to teach them, Shiva expounded various types of yoga depending on the level of preparedness of the person who was sitting in front of him. The first part of Shiva's teaching was to Parvati, his wife. It was taught in a certain intimacy, in great detail, and in very gentle ways. Shiva expounded the ways of yoga to Devi. The Yoga Sutras of Shiva are such that almost in every sutra, he refers to her as the resplendent one, the gracious one, the beautiful one. So, this teaching transpired between the two people in utmost intimacy. Intimacy should not be understood as sexuality. It means that there is no resistance, that this person is absolutely open to what is being offered.